Mike, I got a problem. I suck at jiu-jitsu. I get held down and my weapon arm gets isolated, whether that's a knife or a gun. We're gonna show both of these. I've got Mike Donvito, designer of the MDV +1, this knife that we're carrying. And he actually is a Brazilian jiu-jitsu expert. And he's gonna help me maybe not be such a schmuck when it comes to fighting on the ground over a weapon. Just stand up.
Yeah.
Just stand up, Mike. Why don't you just stand up? Why do you do all that? Why don't you just stand up?
Oh, because the principle that we use is get steel in them as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
So I'm going to shoot them as fast as I can, or I'm going to get a knife in them as quickly as possible. Then I'll use that to stand up.
And before you even get there, Mike, do you know what they're going to say?
No.
Never fight on the ground over a weapon. It's not always how it works. So a lot of times we end up like this, some form of this. Can you work me through some bottom positions to help me keep from getting my weapon arms isolated and nullified, and maybe get back to my feet or bring my weapon to bear?
Yeah, easy. All right, so let's actually switch.
Okay.
So first off, my instructor, Carlos Machado, talks about how everyone learns bottom escapes wrong, and how shrimping really doesn't help that much. He does something that's a little bit different. Basically, all that you're doing...
Wait! Mike, you can't just... yeah, shrimping's not really... Everyone's doing it wrong.
Everybody's doing shrimping wrong. Shrimping isn't a thing. You've been doing jiu-jitsu wrong, period. So let's continue going forward. You'll just bypass that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just... No more. Shrimping's not a thing.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the fact of inside control. What he's trying to do is control the same side arm or my neck or head, right? So like if he's inside, what I'm worried about is him controlling my head here, because that's what stops me from kind of moving away. But he doesn't magically get to this point. So the first thing that we are taught is how to get out of a position where we're like here and our back is flat. And then what happens is your arms kind of slide in and you bump and that type of thing. The problem is that you are consistently laying flat on your back as the first go-to. So what you do when you're grappling is when the guy eventually gets a side control, you think that this is where you have to start. When in reality, if the first thing that you were taught is to get to your side, you would do that more often. What I'm trying to do is, as he's causing pressure, is I'm trying to cross my arm so that he doesn't have the ability to hold on to this arm or to grab my head, right? And so that other arm is fine. Like he could try to bring his other arm over the top, but like he has no real control of my body. I'm controlling this arm here, and then I'm going to get up to my elbow so that I can bring my legs directly up. Now at that point, I can access my knife or my gun and that type of thing. So understand this is based in some sort of context of him taking me down, or we were wrestling for whatever reason.
Tripped and fell.
Yeah, you know, so like it's not exactly I'm laying on my back, you know, sunbathing or whatever, and he gets inside control and I'm like, oh, now I have to get out. What happens is he's here, he tackles me down to the ground, and now I'm here, and this is one of the reasons why this allows me to work techniques like that, because I know that as he's trying to get to the side, I can block that, and I can start to move directly away there. I'm just looking for enough space to be able to put my hands in this position here, whether it be a pistol or a knife, and that allows me to hide the weapon directly underneath, and it allows me to start cutting out or shooting out based off of what I'm doing.
So we gotta get turned onto our side, and we gotta do it right away.
Yes.
Very recently, I participated in a course, and where I got jammed up, I was in bottom mount. Mm-hmm. We were in a four-handed fight over my weapon. Like bad guy was on top, and he was a good bit bigger than me and stronger than me. Mm-hmm. And he was a pretty good wrestler too, the guy that I was going with.
Yep.
And the rule was he couldn't go for my weapon unless he felt it, because it was like a concealed carry type class. Mm-hmm. So we were both fighting over the weapon. Right. Some kind of form like this. Everyone's hands tied up, yep. And I just sort of got fixated and stuck on this. So what would be like the next?
So first thing, I'm always worried about the headbutt.
Right.
That's why I'm kind of like moving off to the side. I'm not really trapping and rolling. I just take one knee and I bump him directly forward. That allows me to move directly to the side, and then I can access my weapon. Both of his hands are secured onto this position, and so I just need his body weight going this way.
Yeah, if I don't post.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm not arching my hips. I just straighten my knee, It goes right into his tailbone. Yeah, so once again, my leg goes forward, and then I'm just driving that directly to
That's what happens when you don't post. My hands were stuck in the weapon. I got stuck. And that happens. Everyone, even in training amongst friends, everyone sort of gets like overly fixated on the weapon. Yeah. But where can they get more information if you're serious about learning how to do this stuff?
Yeah, so we show all of these skills on a site called theeliteu.com. Basically, the idea is that me and a really good friend of mine that's a 25-year Special Forces veteran, I have convinced him and other specialists to put their curriculum on a site so that everybody has access to the techniques and training that basically we were teaching the courses. So all of the gun stuff, all the knife stuff, it's just added information, and we have it on that site.
I'll put a link down in the description below if you want to go check that out. It's the real deal. It's real dudes teaching real shit. We're using guns now just to kind of show these are just principles and skills. They're not like, you don't need a different technique for every weapon. Like the idea of creating space or taking away space is the same no matter what the weapon is. So what if you already have your weapon out and we're fighting over it? Like,
yeah, so the thing is that any time that I have to draw from this point, I want to make sure that my hand goes right on top of the holster here, right? So like if I draw this out and he grabs the front of the pistol itself, he's going to be able to torque that. That's how most of your pistol disarms work. But if my hand goes on top, I want you to grab the front of the gun, and my hand's right here, what happens is...
Yeah, we use this. If you watch our taser video where we were using tasers on each other, this is what I use to keep most of those guys from being able to take it from me.
Yeah, and so all I'm doing is moving to the side, lining one shot up.
But wait, no. Hold on, there's no good place. This is a real strong architecture that he's creating here. I can't really move that anywhere. And I'm significantly stronger than Mike is. Yes. You can probably tell. So Mike, another one that happened to me is I sort of ended up, we were kind of seated and he kind of had my back, and we were sort of, I had my gun out, but he was sort of reaching up under or over or something like that, or maybe even and there's different ways, you know, stuff like that can happen, but I couldn't bring it to bear on him. Right. Like he couldn't get it from me because I knew enough to hold on to it at least a little bit with something similar to what you did, but I couldn't get it on him, except I think I got a round in the leg or something like that. But what about that? Like, okay, so if they kind of got your back, maybe.
The thing is that your elbows need to be in. So another grip that we use is what we call an underhand retention grip. My hand rotates in, this rotates, and then I grab. That allows my elbows to stay in. And then it's a trigger guard. My hands wrap around, my elbows are clamped in.
And you little grappler boys should understand, like the elbows in, you should get that. Yeah. Like that jives with everything that everybody knows about grappling.
Mm-hmm. You know, so what happens is, first thing, he's on my back. I'm locked in. I just want to make sure that he can't get under my arms to control. I obviously want to worry about my neck. And then I'm going to lay flat on the ground until I face him. Yeah. And then I'm going to fire the round. What's the principle when you're grappling and somebody's on your back? The first thing that should be taught to you is if your back is flat on the ground, he can't be on your back. So anytime I feel like somebody's compromising my position by being on my back, I'm going to immediately try to lay flat. And so now what happens is I can start to turn directly in, fire one round. Always remember, you're causing a malfunction right here. And so you're going to do an immediate action and then in turn start ripping shots.
And then here's where the jiu-jitsu guys should get on board. Let's just reset right back to here, go right back where we just were. We get in this moment where you've just sort of, maybe you got before I got my hooks in or anything. And this, minus the gun, is just sort of a race. Like we're racing, you're trying to turn into me, I'm trying to come on top. You add the gun, you get that one big blammo. Yep. And that definitely, how many points is that in IBJJF?
I think that's 32.
These principles are ones that even jiu-jitsu players, like even sport jiu-jitsu guys, should understand why you're doing this with your elbows and why you're doing these things, and seeing a lot more. And you gun guys who've ever done any real force on force where people can grab each other, you've experienced how tough it is to bring that weapon to bear against someone who's trying to stop you from doing that. So theeliteu.com, I'll put a link to that in the description below. Real training, real information on how to use a weapon in either combat or self-defense or law enforcement, whatever context you need to be using a weapon in. against other people, but also make sure you're subscribed, because now we're going to be covering next what to do when they have the weapon.